'Twas the night before Christmas at the NIAID. Not a lab coat was stirring, there was no one to see. The stockings were hung, but morale it was down, for Anthony Fauci was soon leaving town. But for now, Tony nestled all snug in his bed, while visions of CNN danced in his head. And Mrs. Fauci in her kerchief with Tony beside, she tried to seduce him, but the moment soon died. When out in their yard arose such a loud noise, like the sound drag queens make when they see little boys. Tony jumped up from bed, and with fear he was gripped. There's a noise in my yard, and my mask nearly slipped. So as the moon shone brightly down on the snow, Tony put on his glasses and looked out the window. When what to his squinty old eyes should appear but a driverless sleigh and 8 Chinese reindeer. Since I don't see a driver, Tony thought to himself, I'd like to take over, but I'm small, like an elf. My legs are so short and the reins are so long that if I try to drive, things could go quite wrong. But the beasts, they were with him. They gave him support, and Chinese reindeer driving became his favorite sport. Now Shang-Chi, now Bruce Lee, on Chang and on Chen, on Wai Lu and Sun Tzu, back to Wuhan again. We must go once more to that same institute that I helped China build. Now wasn't that cute? Now the reindeer were Chinese and communist too, but they all said to Fauci, that's messed up of you. The lab and the virus gain-of-function research, it's your fault for 2 years no one could go to church. At the outskirts of Wuhan, the reindeer did stop, saying, you're on your own now, you dumb silly wop. And then all of a sudden, they upturned the sleigh, and so out Tony tumbled as the team flew away. And the reindeer agreed that what they'd done was right. Did you hear that guy's voice? I can't take that all night. But Tony, it turns out, he wasn't quite dead. He'd come down in a snowbank and led with his head. And he made it his mission that he never would shirk to get back to the office for his last day of work. So he hitchhiked and traveled by bike and by ski till that glorious day he got back to D.C. With a leathery visage, his beard big and matted, he looked rather mad, although he wasn't hatted. He muttered some nonsense that no one could hear, and some joker said, we got Joe Biden here. But Tony knew better, so he didn't let on that he'd planned this damn thing by himself all along. If I should retire and keep to myself, then no one will need my new book on their shelf. So I cooked up some drama, I think you might say. How else will I stay on TV every day? So if you thought Tony Fauci was out of your life, then think again, assholes. I'm like your ex-wife. You'll never be rid of me. Never, I say. Merry Christmas, you dopes. Have a great fucking day. It's not Christmas anymore, but we can still play the old greatest hits, right? Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. Welcome to the program. I am your eponymous host and humble servant. And Squatch, you get out here too. You big hairy hominid, you.
Evening.
Merry Christmas, my good friend.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, hookers.
How did you make out yesterday at Coffee Day Sasquatch?
I unwrapped my wife and left her a present.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what consummate professionalism looks like.
I'm sorry. It's probably too much. I can never tell. How you doing, bud?
No, it's never too much.
Am I coming in too hot? We good?
You are never coming in too hot. You are just as lukewarm as I like you.
All right.
And
it's Boxing Day with more boxing, right?
Yes, and I guess we need to open with the explanation the whole world wants, which is what the hell is Boxing Day? Boxing Day is the day
that you beat your wife when you found out how much she spent for Christmas.
Yeah, you would think that, but it turns out it is the second day of Christmastide, which means yesterday was the first day of Christmastide. So, in your 12 days of Christmas song, we're actually only on the second day now, which means technically there's still a good couple of dozen birds left to slaughter. So do try to save your energy.
Oh,
it is thought by some, though it is a matter of some controversy, that Boxing Day originated as a holiday to give gifts to the poor, but today it's primarily known as a shopping holiday, as these things often are. It originated in Great Britain. It's celebrated in primarily in countries in the Anglosphere, the former empire, if you will, and it is an official holiday in a
Hello,
number of
Agent.
countries.
Welcome to the show, babe.
Although ours is not one of them, regrettably. The UK, Australia, Canada, even the Czechs, the Germans, the Australians, the Hungarians, the Dutch, the Italians, the Poles, the Slovaks, Croatia, Denmark,
get it.
Finland,
I get
Sweden,
what you're
Belgium,
saying.
Norway, and Ireland.
It's an old world thing. Gotcha.
It is an old world thing. And there's actually much controversy about what the word boxing even refers to, although it makes a convenient shorthand now. What do you do on the day after Christmas? You put all the decorations back in the box and you put them away. But
Makes sense.
it makes sense, although we aren't exactly sure that that's the actual origin. And who are we to say? We are not the professional historians, after all. All right, let's get on with the actual boxing here. If I can figure out how to do it.
I'm sure there's a button there somewhere that'll make it happen.
Yep. It won't take me too long here.
It's always a button. In my experience, it's usually my inability to mash the right buttons that ruins my show.
See? Even in a world of consummate professionalism, these things happen.
AJOT says you need a new look, baby. We got to get you down to the we got to get you to the stylist.
Bah humbug.
Bah humbug. To the stylist, honey. We'll get you fixed right up, let me tell you. That seems
all right.
suspect.
Let's see if I've done this correctly. Caesars Palace Sports Pavilion, Las Vegas, Nevada.
You
This
do a
is
much better, Carcel. Say the name.
Howard Cosell.
Yes, Cosell. I almost said Keitel, which is a totally different guy.
The
Jeez.
Cosell is actually much easier on the throat than Tony Fauci is. Doing Tony Fauci voice 2 days in a row just wrecked me, man.
I bet you. I have tried doing. I did a few like news things as Alex Jones, and I was going to try to get my dog to sit in the chair so I could get a good frontal shot of him. And put
Jones. That's a similar undertaking. There's a similar amount of gravel in that one if you want to do it correctly.
Nancy Pelosi stepped down as Speaker of the House this morning.
She said the fucking dog's gay.
Oh, right.
All right, who do we have here? Hi, AJOT. I saw Blue Unicorn here.
Yeah, he breezed through here a little while. I was going to wait till he said something else so that I was going to tell him he was Mountain Fresh.
Anyway, the fight we are going to watch is George Foreman, Ron Lyle, Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada, 25 January 1976. This is a fight where, to set the scene, Foreman, of course, loses the belt to Ali in the Rumble in the Jungle in September of 74.
Right.
The next time he fights after that is he does this ridiculous thing in Toronto in the spring of 75 where he fights 5 tomato can fringe heavyweights in the same day because his management thinks somehow this is going to reestablish him as a contender, but it doesn't. Everyone just thinks it's kind of ridiculous and embarrassing. And this is the next fight that he fights after that against Ron Lyle, who... Hell of a story with Ron Lyle. Ron Lyle was a guy who was, on his 26th birthday, he was incarcerated for second-degree murder, and he gets in a knife fight with another inmate. He very nearly dies. He gets 30-something blood transfusions, and he has some kind of epiphany on the operating table, or whatever you want to call it. He says, the hell am I doing? I need to do something here to What can I do to make myself a man? And, you know, when you're incarcerated for murder, you don't have many options, but boxing is one. So,
Boxing is actually a very disciplined sport. It's not something
oh
you
yeah,
can get involved with if you have temper issues.
if you want to demonstrate that you're a real man, boxing is a good way of doing it.
Mhm.
And he goes to the prison boxing gym and starts training every day, and he, you know, starts entering the prison boxing circuit fights, you know, whatever it is you do when you're boxing in prison. And eventually he doesn't make his pro debut until he's past his 30th birthday. But he's still, by the time you get to 1975, 76, 77, this guy is one of the top 5 heavyweights in the world, and that is an area that's an era that has a lot of outstanding heavyweights in it. And this guy never strapped
Sure.
on a boxing glove, you know, until he's 26, 27, and makes his debut at 30. And he's fighting Ali for the title within a couple of years. And I think we're going to watch that fight after this one. And that's what a great exhibition, and what a great country this is. That
Yes.
you can go ahead.
This particular fight is one of the most pummeling bouts. Like in the early rounds, they just beat the flying heck out of each other.
This fight is as close as real heavyweight boxing gets to a Rocky movie.
Right.
Remember the bit in Rocky 2 where Apollo is he's got his hand on the rope holding himself up, and he's swinging away with the other hand? That's from this fight.
Apparently, Ajot was in the back. I didn't hear
Ajot.
a ding.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm sorry. I must have missed that. I'm sorry. And
keep in mind that I can't see anything backstage except for what pops up in private chat.
Yeah, and I'm still not all that great at the multitasking. Keeping up with the background video in the comments and the talking and the what have you.
Wait, you just wait until there's 25 people having 3 different conversations that don't have anything to do with you.
Exactly.
And yet later they'll ask you, you remember in that live stream 2 weeks ago when I mentioned to so-and-so about such and such? And I'm like, yep. No.
Yep. I have perfect recollection of that thing you're talking about that I don't remember.
And while you're talking about it, I will go over there and hit it on triple speed and run through it and see if I can find it. I am that asshole. And I'll probably find it. Is the sad part, is I do have that type of memory where I almost remember it. And I know exactly where that's at. I'll go look.
Howard Cosell and Kenny Norton. There's a broadcast duo for you.
Look at Kitty, man. He looks like he's been like caught in the headlights. He has no idea where he's at.
He looks like he would rather be any place else but where he is right now.
He'd rather be in there boxing than being out here talking to how many bottles of whiskey you reckon my man been through today?
How much money am I getting for this again?
You know what's going through that man's head? Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up.
Yeah, but isn't that fascinating? Because he's perfectly accustomed to being on television and plying his trade in front of an audience of millions. But if you just change the context a little bit and put him in a suit and and ask him to start talking, then all of a sudden the same thing becomes terrifying.
Hello, Queen Bird. Welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Queen Bird's here. How about that?
And Ajot, I'll always stop by your corner. That is no problemo. Wink, wink.
Yep.
Nudge, nudge.
Seriously, Ajot, if you were backstage and I didn't see, I'm terribly sorry.
Well, she had to have been. She commented in private chat, so she was definitely there for a second. Although I don't know, she may have had some connection issues or whatever. Maybe she
look
just
at this one. We get commercials with this one. I love it when they've got the commercials.
Dude, that's a rolling bomb. I think roasted more people than Dave Chappelle.
You see the wood side panels on that yellow station wagon? That is pure class right there, baby.
The Naga hide.
Oh yeah. Yep, this is the world I was born into, ladies and gentlemen.
What a terrifying ride. I remember riding in the back of one of those things. And I remember thinking about where the gas tank was. I was looking down at the floorboard like, gas tank's got to be right about there. What happens if it gets rear-ended? Exactly what you think.
Like a Ronson lighter, man.
Like a Zippo. You ever see Top Secret?
Yes.
All right. So you remember the scene in there where the Pinto gets barely dinged, like it touches the rear bumper. There's like a static discharge from one to the other and it explodes.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite scenes in all of movie history. It's good to have.
Those things were legitimate death traps.
I had a friend of mine who swore by them up until about the mid 2000s. He said a Pinto was the most reliable vehicle on earth. Then he moved north of the Mason-Dixon, and both of his Pintos immediately rusted into virtual non-existence. Like it was like dropping them in an Alka-Seltzer.
But you used to see a hell of a lot of them on the road still, even long after they were still manufacturing the things.
Well, there's this interesting inversion. All right. So if you go north, you won't find old rolling steel, right? They've all been salted out and rusted up, and they're all messed up. The chassis shot. And in order to make one of those drivable, you would literally have to dry build the chassis and put the body back on it. You go farther south, and it gets juicier and juicier, and you have a very similar but more of a patina issue. The chassis is not gone, but all the side panels are rotted out, and there's an alligator in the floorboard, right? So when you go looking for old rolling steel, you want
the woody side panels didn't hold up too well.
No, not at all. So like when you're looking for old rolling steel, you go looking out in the desert, go to West Texas, Arizona, Utah, those places, because you can go find a solid 1966, 1970, whatever you want, and it'll be parked in somebody's yard and has been there since 74.
Yeah, because West Texas, I believe, is where they've got the big Air Force boneyard.
Yeah. That's where I went to go get my El Camino.
There you go. El Camino, another one that you still saw lots and lots and lots of them on the road long after they were still building them.
Well, I'll tell you an interesting bit about that. When I went looking for my El Camino, the one that I wanted, turned out there are none in Georgia. There are none in Georgia, South Carolina. There are a few in Florida. They are all like $30, $40, $50, $60,000. They're show cars.
Yeah.
And after looking into it, I realized there were only about 11,000 brought to Georgia, and almost every single one of them had their engines snatched and put in a Camaro or a something. Farm truck. I mean, those 396s were serious.
Yep.
So they snatched them out and stuck them in a quote unquote fast car.
Yeah, funny how that happens. Car winds up with another car's engine in it. I don't know how that happened.
I know how it happens. It takes about 5 rednecks, a case of liquor, and some time. Possibly an engine hoist wouldn't hurt your chances.
Yep, engine hoist would not hurt one little bit.
Good God, he's just pummeling him, man. Look at them. They're already exhausted. All right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this is as tame as this fight gets, too.
Yeah, no, this is low rent on this one. Who's in the white trunks?
Lyle.
Okay.
Yeah, George is wearing the same trunks from Zaire, I believe.
Yeah. I was thinking that dude was beefy enough to be a young George. What are you, about 35 here?
34, I believe, yeah.
Right.
You know, and it's tantalizing to wonder what Ron Lyle's career might have looked like if he had, you know, become a boxer at age 14 or 15 when you normally do,
I'll
instead
be
of
honest with
27 in prison.
I have this this theory on that one that he would have possibly been one of those casualties of war in the training process. There's
Always a possibility.
There's a lot of young men out there still smell burned rubber from a good shot from a professional. Slung their gloves off at home and started cutting celery because we're going to be
sometimes it was the only one they ever took too.
Yep. No, that was basically how it went down with me. I did real well against amateurs, right? And then I came across someone who had actually been a professional boxer, and that man beat these stone cold breaks off of me, and he did it with an aplomb that just infuriated me. Nothing I could do about it. Every trick I could bring up, he just sloughed it off like water off a duck's back. He didn't care.
And I'm reminded hearing you say that. I don't know if you're familiar with the story of when they were making Rocky 3, Stallone actually wanted Clubber Lang to be played by Ernie Shavers, and that was the plan actually in going into it, and they did a bunch of sparring and scene blocking and everything, and Stallone, he's in there boxing, sparring with Shavers, and he's trying to get him to open up. He's like, come on, just give me one shot. Just give me one decent Ernie Shavers shot. And he gave him one punch, and Stallone went to the hospital.
Yeah. No, people don't realize until you get hit, you've got a plan. You've got this idea of what you're going to do. You're going to do this, and it's going to work. And all the way up until you take that first smack across the nose, that's your plan. And suddenly you don't have a plan. You're not even sure what day it is, but this man's trying to kill me.
Oh yeah. And in the abstract, the idea of taking a real punch from a heavyweight boxer is a starkly different thing than actually taking the punch, which I think Stallone found out that day.
Yeah.
And then they had to go get Mr. T, and the rest is history.
Well, that just shows you the difference between a man who trains to look good punching and a man who trains to punch.
Oh yeah, you're damn right.
An actor looks great out there pretending to train, but when you've done what that actor just did in that one scene for the past 18 months, it's a whole different bag of stew.
Yeah, when that's your trade, that's the thing you make your living doing.
Were they playing patty cake? Oh my God, he just walked straight into a light pole. Did you see that?
Yeah, this is the point in the fight where they're yeah. That's pretty much what the rest of this fight is.
That man will beat you right through your gloves. He don't care.
Oh, I know.
Put your gloves up if you want to. He's just gonna hit you anyway. He's gonna hit you with your own hand.
99% of the heavyweights in the world would have been unconscious from what George just laid on this guy in the last 30 seconds.
And Lyle has taken a few of those and is still standing. Yep. I mean, he's basically just propped up in the corner.
Yeah, and he is a long way from finished too.
Right. But there comes a point in here, right? You're getting beat down. You actually lose track of what's actually going on, and your body turns into this machine whose only purpose is survival. And you can see it in function here, all the way up till that bell rang. But Foreman is just a wrecking ball. He is an absolute tank.
Yeah, and this fight was where he was expected to make his statement. Like, do you want to still be a championship level contender in this division or not? Because you're going to have to. And this is where Lyle's reputation was pretty much near its apex, because he had given
you see the difference that there's two men. Lyle's over there looking at his boss like, what in the world am I doing in this ring with this animal? Why did you put me in here with this gorilla? This man is going to tear me apart. George Foreman.
How did you talk me into this, boss?
How did you talk me into this, Bob? George Foreman, meanwhile, is like, call my wife, see if I left the cake in the oven. I think it needs to come out in a couple of minutes. I might have left my drink open in the dressing room. Can somebody go get it for me? I need to call my tax assessor.
Yeah,
Remind me after the fight.
Foreman, if I'm not mistaken, was only ever knocked to the canvas 4 times in his career, and 2 of them happened in this round. Yeah, there's just not much defense here anymore.
Like I said, there comes a point where it becomes animal instinct, and George Foreman never enters this place, this mindset. He's here to abuse this man until he quits. That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
You're gonna quit because I'm gonna beat you until your brain will let you do nothing else. And that's what he's here to do. And Lyle is over here to bring a good.
George at this point is still in the mindset of, well, I'm going to defeat you because I'm here and I'm George Foreman and you're not.
I'm George Foreman. That's right.
But he's about to get.
Lyle just has this instinctive contextual form. He is constantly beaten down. He's matching the punches coming in. Yeah. Not as hard, not as solid, but he's bleeding off some of Foreman's pop. He's not taking the full brunt usually. Usually he gets
there is a method to what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, it takes a lot of energy to make a big man like George Floyd do that. I mean, not George Floyd, George Foreman. Jesus, there's your remix. You can have it. It's right there, bud.
Oh, there it is.
That might have been the only way he lost this match if somebody put fentanyl in his ass.
Oh man, God damn you! I was just trying to think of a good fentanyl joke too.
Sorry, dude. It was natural. I couldn't help it.
Fair play. Yeah, this is round 3, and look.
I mean, yeah. I mean, this shows the whole scene of how this is going. I mean, Lyle's just tried to survive another 2 seconds, and George and Foreman's just like, I'm going to pummel you.
And if you were walking in on the middle of this fight, you'd probably think they were in the 10th or 11th round right now.
Right?
Ooh.
Good Lord. How do you take that type of punishment?
I know.
Oh, hello.
And how many fights that end in the 5th round win fight of the year like this one did?
Well, I mean, dude,
not many. Yeah.
If this was like a video game match, which one would be the protagonist? Well, George Floyd would have to be the big bad, right? He'd have to be the boss.
Yeah, he would have to be the big bad, and Lyle is the scrappy underdog, trying to fight his way out of solitary.
Getting out of the gulag.
Yeah. There's another fun aspect of the Ron Lyle story was that he gets in the knife fight with the other guy and almost dies on the operating table and has to have dozens of blood transfusions. And when he finally is well enough to be released from the hospital, he gets to go in the hole for 90 days.
Nice. I don't know. After getting stabbed a few times, I might rather be in the hole. And
that was where he got his moment of clarity.
Said, in prison, it might be safer to keep me in the hole.
Yeah. Maybe this isn't the best way to live. Maybe I should go down to the boxing gym when I get out of the hole.
Right. We'll go talk to some of the white guys over there. Maybe they can take out some of this, pent up aggression. I want to specify another thing. Like I said earlier.
Yeah.
Boxing is not a thing you get into if you have a temper problem. You cannot if you have rage issues, you can't stand in a ring across from somebody and separate the difference between biting their face off and beating them with the legal pugilism.
Down goes George. And that's at that point, that's only the second time he's been down after the Ali knockdown.
How hard is it to back that up? Or is they fixing to show it again?
I can back it up.
Yeah, I'd like to see that particular drop because I'm pretty sure he just got pushed over. I think he tied his feet up, which, you know, if you manage to tie up George's feet, you
All
done
right, here
good.
it comes again.
All right.
Ooh,
Ooh. Ooh, that was a good one.
yeah,
Ooh.
that straight right did part of it. Ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
there was about 4 good ones in there.
Yeah, okay. But he pretty much shoved him over with the weight of his fists. He just kept coming in on him like duke, duke, duke. Okay.
Yeah, when he went down, it was more the cumulative effect of the last 4 or 5 or 6 blows, I think.
He just needed a breather. I'll be right back, coach.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Just need to take a knee for a minute, coach.
I mean, it's as much a wrestling match as it is a boxing match. Ooh.
And there's just absolutely no thought of playing defense by either
Nah,
man.
man.
Just
They're just, oh my God.
yeah,
That
and
man just took a whop that put most boxers on his butt.
I know.
That was that
Yeah.
that left hook that he just took was a fight winning shot. And he just took
This
it and kept coming.
this round is absolutely mental.
I forgot how brutal this match was. Like I
Yeah,
said,
this is
I haven't watched it in probably 10 or 15 years.
if you like to drink your heavyweight boxing straight, no chaser, this is your fight.
Yeah. Absolutely. Ow. 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 Ow.
Oh,
Ow. Ow.
God,
Ow.
3 of those lefts in a row. I mean,
Good. And I mean, it shook all of George Foreman, every bit of him. Bam. Bam. Good God.
I know you just
Good
have to
God.
stand.
I mean, you read about stuff like this. You don't generally get a chance to see it. I mean, it looks like somebody like
Oh
like a
yeah, yeah.
Hollywood movie,
If you put this in a movie, the audience would say, "Come on, a fight would never actually be like that."
right?
But this fight is.
Absolutely. Uh, uh.
Like every single punch is landing that either guy throws.
Punched him on the button right there, bud. That might have been the
Yeah,
first time Foreman ever realized he had a button.
yeah, and both men get knocked down in that round, and Foreman goes down twice. That's half of the times he ever went down in his whole career was in that round.
Right? That says a lot by itself right there, bud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's quite the compliment to Ron Lyle too.
Now with real boxing. It's glorious. Ooh. 5 rounds of just meat tenderization.
Yeah, it's how many fights do you see where it's the 5th round and both men come out completely exhausted?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be the 15th round and you would be forgiven for thinking that. That's what an endurance contest this was.
Ooh. That's not a good position, but It's the technical
Can't
issues.
even get his arms up. Oh, man.
It's just a love fest, man. We're just gonna hug each other.
I know. It's just two men teeing off, and the winner is going to be whoever falls down last.
Yeah, pretty much. Comes down to a point where they start slugging each other, not even really moving.
And they're
around.
they're both just landing ridiculous shots on each other. Oh, dude. Yeah, I don't know how Foreman stood up, to be honest with you.
It's kind of glitching on this end.
And here's where he puts him away. He can't even stand up. Ropes are holding him up. Can't cover his head. It's just chopping down a tree. All right, tree, when you gonna fall down? How many times I need to chop you? There it is.
As soon as he remembers he has kneecaps and he can bend them, he'll fall down. Because he was done a long time before Foreman was.
And Foreman reasserts himself as a heavyweight contender, but he would only maintain that status for another couple years. And then he has his early retirement and his couple of decades in the wilderness. All right, let's say we watched that. Let's say we watched that Ali fight.
Brilliant. I'm always down for watching Ali, man. Anytime.
Me too. I could watch. Yeah, I am with you. There's always room for Ali.
I had a buddy of mine in high school who used to tell me that if Ali had grown up with us, he'd have been a rapper. He'd have never picked up the gloves.
He wouldn't have been too bad at it.
Oh, no. He'd come with some bars, too. I guarantee it. Because in the days of Cassius Clay, my man was quite the talented speaker, orator. He often attracted crowds just by throwing out some random bit of doggerel poetry. And that was before he became like a world-renowned boxer.
Yeah, he did an album with Sam Cooke in 1963, if I'm not mistaken, where there's kind of some sort of proto rap, you might call it. It didn't sound too bad.
It's sort of like slam poetry.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah,
I mean, not as much music as rap, but it's sort of a spoken word throwdown. It was pretty cool, sort of.
This is actually an interesting interview with Howard Cosell interviewing Ron Lau. Should we listen to this?
Can if you wish. It's your channel, bud.
How long you were there? All of it.
Well, it was back in '61 when I first got involved in a gang fight, and a guy was killed, and I was caught and convicted. And
manslaughter.
Yes, I was sent to the penitentiary for second-degree murder. Of course, I was tried for first degree, but they found me guilty of second degree. And there is where I started boxing. I first went in the penitentiary. They were holding fights on the 4th of July. It was in 4th of July of 62. And the guys were fighting, and I looked at it and I said, this doesn't look hard. I think I can try that. I think I can do it. And I did, And the first time I ever fought, it was like in 64. Of course, at that time, you and Muhammad Ali were going strong, And
what do you mean at that time? We still are. You'll find him strong enough when you face him.
He's going out, and so are you. But that's where I learned,
You got into further trouble, didn't you, while you were in prison?
Well, I got stabbed, Of course,
That doesn't mean you got stabbed. Don't throw it away like that.
Well, it was the thing is, when you're in prison, man, everybody's mean. You know what I mean? Or they wouldn't be there. And
Where were you stabbed?
I was stabbed in the abdomen over here,
Wasn't that when the prison doctor signed your death certificate?
Yeah, well, one of them did, but Dr. Townsend, he didn't give up, he just, I guess he felt that he had to offer me up. They couldn't find the artery because of the blood. They had to give me like 36 blood transfusions.
36 blood
About 5:30 that evening,
How long did it take you to recover from the operation?
Well, they sent me to the hole, and they give me 90 days in
solitary confinement.
Right. And, of course, you have nothing there but your letters that you get.
That's your reward for surviving 90 days in the hole.
But my sister Joyce, I wrote her, and I asked her to write me notes to give me something to read.
I might like 90 days in the hole and get over.
So I started doing exercises like push-ups and squats and set-ups and toe raises.
Let me tell you
and I got to where I could do 1,000
push-ups
an
made
hour,
of steel,
which was pretty good, So it didn't, the time didn't really bother me, and that's where I decided I wanted to be heavyweight champion of the world. I saw myself as being a world champion. And
Dude,
from that moment on,
I have
I
a
got
jacket just
day,
like that,
and I
but
just
it's
kept
small,
working.
too little for me.
I did that interview with Ron Lyle a number of weeks ago after it was announced that Lyle would be Ali's opponent here tonight.
And there you go. I think I had most of those details in that story, right? Didn't I? 36 blood transfusions.
Yeah, you did it. You did it full justice, dude. I'm proud of you. You ought to be able to go chop that up, and make you a good video out of it.
Yeah, that's not a man I would give a hard time to. I'm just saying.
Oh no, sir. That is a sir right there. He is a yes sir and a no sir.
Yep, you are damn right. That is a sir.
I mean, I'm not.
What can I do for you, sir?
I think I know everything I need to know about him just by looking at him. Yes, sir.
And I think also it's a story about what a great country this is, because
A convicted felon.
He can't do this by himself. It requires people inside the prison system taking notice of him and seeing that he has potential to do something good and fostering the potential and helping him out. And it takes a village, as Hillary might say. Right.
Well, I mean, it also takes an almost insurmountable amount of discipline. The man made a run at the heavyweight championship, and he did it from a prison cell
against every handicap that you could have working against you.
Every single possible negative, and he got his shot.
Yep. Makes his pro debut at the age of 30.
Right? Most boxers are retiring at 31, 28.
Yeah. That's when you've crested the hill and you're on your way down and you're just hoping for one or two more good paydays before you retire. That's when this guy makes his debut, and he still makes himself a contender. He still gets himself a title shot.
He gets the shot. I mean, a lot of people, American movies will have you believe that it doesn't count unless you win. But the fact of the matter is, the fight is really what matters. The battle.
Oh, you're damn right. Yep. And the story is often that much more compelling when you don't win.
Right. Because it's really, when it comes down to it, it doesn't have to do, it's a battle of skill. That's true. Skill, luck. But in that case, George Foreman was just a much stronger opponent. I mean, this man brought every bit of technical skill to the match he possibly could. It wasn't enough.
Yeah. And on the day, Foreman is also 8 years younger, and that fact always brings itself to bear.
Are we doing the Lyle Ali fight?
Yeah.
Which one is it? Oh, brilliant. I was hoping it was that one. Because I would really like to see them tangle, because both of them Well, I mean, Ali's an unconventional, if highly technical fighter, whereas Lyle is just an overwhelmingly technical fighter. I probably haven't. This is another one I haven't seen.
Yeah, and also Ali, by the time he's in this point of his career, he is such a ring psychologist that each one of his fights, it's almost like its own distinct drama play.
It's a show.
Yeah,
he's not expecting to ever get hurt. It's a show.
And if I'm not mistaken, this fight was the first fight for Ali after he regained the title over Foreman. And I think let me turn on the volume for this.
Wepner. Let's have a look at that
don't worry
belly.
about it. I'm in pretty good shape. I'll get by. Don't worry about my belly. You're not in good shape either. And if you keep talking, I'm going to show the people you're in no better shape than me.
How do you plan to fight the fight, champ?
Well, I plan to fight my new style, Howard. I want to announce here now the new style about landing the rope sometime, let my man punch himself out. It is called the rope-a-dope.
See, he's coining the term rope-a-dope right there.
Who does the word dope honor?
It honors whoever chases me in the ropes.
All right, that's the very point. What if Ron Lyle doesn't pursue you into the ropes? What if he backs off?
If he don't, then I'll just go into my defensive style, Howard, and move in and force him to punch. Watch this thing careful tonight. You will notice how I'll completely wear this man down. Watch careful. You'll notice how when the bell rang, I'll walk right out and take his shots. I'll force him. I offer him a deal. He can't refuse. And after throwing 4 or 5 rounds of this, Howard, you'll finish. He's got 15 to go. Notice when I go to the ropes, you'll see me cover up, blocking the vulnerable parts, blocking the chin. I don't want no amateurs out there to try this.
Can I point out this man is giving you the play card for the night?
It takes 21 years experience to get away with this.
What he's
But
doing.
you will see me tonight literally take this man. He may win 2 or 3 rounds for the first 5, but after 5 rounds, this man will, Howard, he'll just be completely exhausted. And this is better than me.
I suspect we're having technical difficulties. Captain Curmudgeon will be right back with the program momentarily. I am unsure exactly what just took place, but he seems to have disappeared and perhaps will return one day from the far, far reaches of the wormhole. Meanwhile, I'll try not to break my set. See, not the best. There we go. All right. So, I'm thinking he may be having some weather issues. And since I am clearly still live, right, perhaps we should go to a different program until he figures out what's going on. Is it too late for Christmas? I don't think it's too late for Christmas. We can do some Christmas stuff. He did some Christmas stuff. ABC. No. That was unfortunate.
Yeah, not sure what that was about.
All right. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Give me a moment to get things back situated.
I imagine it was internet issues. Happens to me all the time, especially when I'm hosting the show.
All right.
Is that Aunt Jemima?
There we go. All good now.
All right.
All right.
You know, people always hit me up for Matthew McConaughey quotes. So that's the one they all go for. And whenever they go, all right, I'll look at them and go, that's the wrong quote. The proper quote for Matthew McConaughey is, I love high school girls.
That's what I love about these high school girls, man. I get older. They stay the same age.
Yes, sir.
They do.
That's the one. That's the one. If you're going to do a movie quote and it's going to be Matthew McConaughey, that is the quote you should drop. Never forget that man said that out loud.
Yeah, Lady Curmudgeon used to have a pretty severe crush on Matthew McConaughey, so I know all of his lines from that movie
Dude,
really well.
I'm a straight white male, and I have a crush on Matthew McConaughey. He is the Dark
Right.
Man. Are you joking? He. Oh God. I mean, I have absolutely no homosexual tendencies to speak of, but he's Matthew McConaughey.
I hear you, brother. I know exactly what you mean.
Don't judge me. That is a damn fine man. He's a specimen.
Not till you've walked a mile in my loafers.
Well, I like your loafers. I kind of feel like they might have a little juicy heel in them. Come on. Did you have to bring your own pimp to the match? I don't understand.
Yeah, we got to introduce all the grifters.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that part of 70s boxing. Is Don
Yeah,
King?
that is an integral component of 70s boxing.
You know, it reminded me a lot of WWE in the 80s, where they had
yeah.
like, the Mouth of the South. The
There's
actual
this guy who's in the building who you've heard of.
right.
That's one motherfucker of a leisure suit right there.
Okay, yeah, and I was fixing to say something about that leisure suit too. That is
Man,
an awesome suit. These guys are all dressed to the nines, man.
That is how you own a leisure suit, my friend.
Can we check out the other corner and see how those gentlemen are dressed? I don't know why I'm interested, but suddenly I care. I don't know.
Oh, we're still introducing people, are we?
Yeah, no, we got to get all of them in here. Because it's a big deal, you know.
And I'm going to ask him to come up and say hello. He is the former heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman.
Here is the introduction of George Foreman. He is not popularly received, as you can hear.
He's getting
what
booed out of the building.
Situation for this young man. How hard to puzzle out this recent,
There's a shirt and a jacket for you.
personal
One of the greats
errata.
of boxing.
The greatness at Mexico City. And then the demolition of Frazier and Norton consecutively. And then the shocking upset in Zaire by
Zaire.
Muhammad Ali. Here, of course, is one of the most popular men
Hey,
ever
Joe
to
Louis.
fight, Joe Louis. Las Vegas is his feet.
I love the way Howard used to say that. Zaire. The fight in Zaire. Zaire.
I know nothing. Zaire. Sorry.
Zaire.
I don't get it. And why are we talking to these people? I mean, I'm going to punch him until he stops moving.
This is Jim
And then I'm
Brown.
going to continue punching him until he gives up. That is my plan. I will hit him and he will fall down. Thank you. And there we go again. Consummate professional. All right. So we're going to continue moving in the direction we were in last time this happened. Let's see if we can pull off something fantastic. Let's see. Oh, we'll do it that way because that's the coolest way I know to do it. You know, since it's not the way it works. I'm gonna let this roll until he pops up and gets it fixed up. But this is my reading of A Visit from Saint Nick, not Saint Fauci. A Visit from Saint Nicholas. A Visit from Santa Claus. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, I in my cap, had just settled down for a nice winter's nap. When out upon the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to the objects below. When what to my Go ahead and get wondering yourself eyes set should up while this appear gets but a running. miniature sleigh and
No, we're fine.
20 reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen. On Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash. You got her back up.
Yep. You could have
All right.
left it playing though.
Okay. Dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky. So up to the house the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes how they twinkled, his dimples how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not
They're
a
both
word
age 33.
work and filled all the That's actually a stockings very even and card. turned with a jerk.
Yeah. Sure
Laying
is.
his finger aside of his nose.
I mean,
and
that
giving
reach
a
is
nod
gonna
up
tell,
the
but-
chimney he rose.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Sprang
technically
to his
even
sleigh,
card. I
to
mean,
his team gave a
what's he
whistle.
got? 20
Away
pounds on
they
him,
all
maybe?
flew like a down of thistle.
5.
And I heard him
But yeah, okay, I'll buy
exclaim
that,
ere he
5.
drove out of
Yeah.
sight.
224, 219.
All
Oh,
and
okay.
to all a good night. I guess that's about the best I got. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa, Happy Flying Spaghetti Monster. I hope y'all all enjoyed it.
I got to figure out that pop filter.
Let's just call it the Kwanzaa Spaghetti Monster and call it even.
A buddy of mine came by the other night and he had a good one. It was Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, Pastafari, and something. I can't remember. He had a good one. I got to go call him up and get it. So I can say it proper, like true and not a shot of pressure.
Oh, good call. True in and not a shot of pressure.
But the ability to
What-
just throw that one out there is practice.
Only a select few of us can throw that one out there on command. True in and not a shot of
Practice.
pressure.
Yeah.
It takes a
Absolute
consummate
dedication to
professional.
the craft.
Yes. You're damn right. There's Ollie working the crowd up.
If you drop out again, I'm going to play Desperado. That's not a threat. That's a promise.
Oh, you should play it
Desperado.
anyway.
Hmm.
I was actually looking forward to hearing that one.
It's a good one. I'm very impressed with how well that one turned out. Considering that somebody called me up and was like, "Hey, I want you to do this thing." I was like, "Okay, I'll check it out." And
We got
stop that. Why does that keep happening? Jesus.
My
I've
mom
got-
enjoyed your reading of Dangerous Dan McGrew also.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I can't tell you how much. That's one of my favorite poems of all time.
That's
And
a good one.
the cremation of Sam McGee.
are my two favorites, and you can tell when I read them that I really enjoy them.
I mean, you can tell looking at that man that he's done hard time.
He does look like he's fixing to brutalize.
There is just no doubt whatsoever.
You're not wrong.
Why, yes, sir. I have been in a near fatal prison knife fight. Now that you mention it.
You ever wonder who those people are that are watching that never talk?
I do.
I'll be sitting in a group of 10 people who are having a conversation, and there'll be 25 people watching. I'm like, who are these people? And why aren't they talking or doing anything?
And why are they so committed to their lurkerness?
Why are they committed to this channel? I couldn't get it, man. When I first started live streaming, I'd have one person in chat and 4 people hiding. Why? I have 4 subscribers. Why would you do that?
Yeah, I wish I had an answer for you, but it flummoxes me as well.
Hey, Samuel, welcome to the show, bud. I got a couple of shorts posted for you and Kat, just for you. They're coming up tomorrow, the next day.
Thanks for stopping by. Hello to you also.
Yeah, he's probably going to be going live here in a little bit. He does this thing he calls screaming into the void, which that just appeals to my trolliness. I love it. And
oh yeah, it is appealing. Look at Ali just clowning his ass off in the first round.
Well, if he is, I haven't gotten any notifications yet, so I don't have to feel bad about it yet. I try to swing by, but they're all West Coast like you, and everything they do happens so late for me that it's like 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning before it happens. And if I'm up at that point, it's because I woke up. It's not because I'm still up.
It's one of the drawbacks of being on a large continent.
Yeah, if I am still up, chances are I'm hammered, and you don't want me in chat. Excuse me. I can't. Oh, they're just measuring. They're just checking.
Yeah. Well, Ali's saying, "Come on, hit me, punch yourself out. Come on."
And
come on,
clearly, this man has seen the ad, the bit earlier, and is like, "No, I'm not going to do that."
Yep. No, sir, I'm not going to do what you want me to do.
But dude, he's a fighter. It's hard for him not to, because I mean, like Ali said, making an offer he can't refuse.
So, and there's your whole psychological chess match right there.
It could be argued that Ali won this match in the interview and not on the mat.
Yeah, it could be argued very compellingly, in fact.
We got to go dig up some Prince and Azim.
Nassim.
I think that's right. Yeah. Watch some of his fights. You remember those were freaking. He'd go out there and dance around with them for a second without having his gloves up. And then he'd just knock them out. He'd be like, wow, over. I always wondered.
Yep.
Were those matches purchased or were they legit? I've never been able to determine it. Every time I watch one, I'm like, oh, that was bought. And then the very next time I watch it, I'm like, okay, it might be legit.
Like, yeah, are you watching a wondrous bit of ring tacticianship, or are you watching something that's not on the level? It's hard to know sometimes.
It looked like magic to me, man. I'm serious. That man was quick. I would not in the least be be in the least surprised to learn that he picked every one of his opponent's pockets while he was beating the full out of them. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. Yeah, no, I'm doing okay in the fight, but that man just stole my wallet. You just think you're doing okay.
I think I won that round, but my trousers feel a bit lighter.
Right. I think he took my jockstrap. I'm a little confused. Which one of y'all
Leave that man's absconded with my billfold. God, it must have been annoying to fight Ali.
Okay, apparently Screaming Into the Void is Saturday.
You don't.
Now,
what do you even make of that?
I mean, Ali's just demonstrating how much more in shape he is, perhaps. He's volunteering to take a beating from one of the world's best technical boxers on the mat.
Yeah.
To show the fact that you don't have to actually fight to win boxing. And so far, it's gone down exactly how he said. He's going to wear himself out.
The thing where he was really brilliant at this stage of his career was when he would get hurt a little bit and pretend to be hurt way worse than he was.
Right.
And so there's your psychological chess match with the opponent, because the opponent has to think, well, do I really have him as hurt as he's letting on, or do
careful with that? You got to be real careful, because if that man thinks he's hurt you and comes in hard and doesn't mess up, he might win right there.
Yeah, and that's that same tightrope that Ali used to. I don't know how he pulled it off so many times, but he walked that tightrope just over and over and over again.
Magnifique.
And even just a little thing like this, when he doesn't sit on the stool between rounds, like
right. That's
what's he
positive.
playing at? Yeah.
No, he's just showing you he's not tired. You are.
Yep.
You are tired. I'm not. Is it a risk? A tiny one.
And it's just, little tiny things that you can use to get into a guy's head. He was.
What do you reckon that Lyle's corner coach told him when he got him in the corner? You need to put this man down. You need to drop him this round. You can't be dancing around out there hugging him all the time. Go in there and abuse that man. Stop playing patty cakes with him and abuse him.
Yeah, and I would also say, when you hurt him, don't act like you've hurt him. When you assume you haven't hurt him when you've hurt him. If you right. think you've hurt him, hit him twice as hard.
Yeah, when you hurt him, keep hurting him.
Yep.
And Ali's just playing with him the whole time.
Yeah, he's doing the thing he was talking to Cosell about in the interview.
It's a workout. It's a sparring match.
He went on television and told the entire country how he was going to fight the fight, and he wasn't lying. He went out there and did it. Who does that?
Ali.
Yeah. Only Ali could do that. And that's what makes Ali so wonderful. And I call it the rope-a-dope, Howard.
That's not unlike Babe Ruth calling his home run shot.
Yeah, and that was.
It's a very similar flavor.
That was the very interview where he coined the term. I'm gonna go on the ropes. I'm gonna cover up. I'm gonna make him punch himself out,
and then I'm gonna beat the brakes off of him. Well, like with this fourth round,
the brakes off of him.
It's the fourth round, right? We got one more before he calls it. Woo!
Did you even see this guy is such a madman that he was actually covered up and going forward toward his opponent.
Uh-huh. Look at him. He's still doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, hit me. Swing the big old ham fist you got. Swing him.
Yeah.
Hit me.
They said you could punch, Ron Lyles. Show me that punch.
So let me see. What do you reckon he's saying to him when he gets in that clutch? How you doing?
Wouldn't that be great to know?
She'd lock the door before you left the hotel room.
He told me you was a big puncher, Ron.
Well, you got to admit, he hasn't made any technical errors so far, except for allowing Ali to control the tempo of the fight completely.
Yeah, he's doing about all you can do.
Yeah, I mean, what else was he supposed to do against this man? I mean, he refuses to throw punches until Lyle actually drops his guard. As soon as he drops his guard, suddenly he's slinging the horseshoes and the whole horse at him. And Ali is so fast.
And he like he did so many times, he's just given away the body. I don't know how he got away with that, but he just that man had ribs of steel that he could give away the body like that and just be seemingly unaffected by it.
Lyle's not taking the bait on that. He's not actually pummeling his body. He's hitting it occasionally, but it's always soft jabs and round hooks. It's not. He's not.
Yeah, nothing with conviction behind it.
Yeah. Lyle wants to end this in one punch. He wants to get one good shot in on the button and put Ali down. And I'm not sure Ali has a button.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
I mean, he took rounds with George Foreman and walked away.
Yeah, where Foreman was throwing everything he had at him.
In the kitchen sink, all four horseshoes and the horse plus the mule from down the road. He threw everything at that man. And you could tell later in life when Ali was doing interviews and he had his head bobbing around going, yeah, I was the greatest.
I would even say there are punches that Lyle took from Foreman in that fight that were heavier than anything Foreman threw in the Zaire fight. That were heavier than anything Ali received, because in every one of those cases, he either got a glove in between here and there, or he was full on moving away. That was a great fight too. Mainly because of the hype, not because of either performance. Was it the Foreman-Liston fight? Or was it the Ali-Liston fight where they talk about the ghost knockout, the ghost punch that somehow the camera missed? That's Liston Ali 2, which technically I guess Liston is Ali 1 because the first fight was Clay Liston. So the fight that was in Maine, where the Phantom knockout, whatever you want to call it.
Phantom knockout, that's it.
Where Sonny was looking for a place to fall down.
Yeah, he's like, this looks good, and he lays down on the mat.
Because there were so many rumors going around.
Look at him. Look at the entire difference in his approach. He's pretending that he's coming in just like he did before, but now he's throwing his gloves at him, being threatened.
Yeah.
Right. 5th round. He's gonna knock him out in just a minute. He's done trained him to expect certain types of movement. And now he's going to change that movement completely. Now chase me.
Now he's circling for the first time in several rounds.
In this fight.
Yep.
And so now Lyle has a brand new opponent that he has no previous information from. Right? He hasn't boxed this gentleman. The other gentleman
was suddenly your opponent's doing a completely different thing than he was doing 30 seconds ago.
Right.
And yes, so much of what Ali does, it doesn't even have anything to do with throwing punches.
Well, it does. It has to do with training your reflexes to respond a certain way to a certain stimulus so that whenever he gets you trained properly, he can knock you out with the one time he doesn't do that. Because you can consciously be aware that this man is setting a jab for a hook. You can know it in your soul, but your body will attempt to protect yourself from that jab, knowing that hook is coming.
Yeah.
That's why it works. It's a reflexive thing. You go to fade away from that jab and eat a hook right in the freaking button.
The other thing that's great about Ali is that he always would be perfectly forthright about the fact that he wasn't a hard puncher. He would even call himself a soft puncher. He would say, I'm a soft puncher. I got to punch you lots of times before I knock you down.
Right? And Lyle tries to match him in movement, but it just ain't there. He's already wore out. And Lyle wasn't much of a runner in the first place.
Yeah, he's not a guy you're going to be doing much ballet dancing with.
Right.
And now Ali's he's dropped the hands, so he's trying to invite a knockout blow.
Yeah. He's trying to drag him in.
Yep.
It's working. Ooh. Mm. Ooh.
Uh-oh, the shuffle. It's so much fun watching Ali work.
I know, man.
It just never gets old.
In his zone.
Look at
There
this
you
man.
go. Wow. How many rounds does this one go?
It ends in round 11, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, and after the 10th, I believe all three of the judges had Lyle winning.
Well, I mean, on a technical standpoint, yes. Up to this point, Lyle has enough points on the card just from the fact that he threw more punches, landed more punches, had a more aggressive first 3 rounds by a long shot. I mean, Ali threw, what, 5 punches in the first 3 rounds?
Yeah, but like with many Ali fights, you kind of just have to throw out the standard criteria.
True. I mean, I'm not debating whether or not he was an effective fighter. I'm just saying in the technical sense of a typical bout, so far this is a very one-sided fight, technically.
Yep.
Because I mean, all of these that he's throwing, all of these punches count as hits. They're all
if you didn't know any better, you would think, well, I've got one guy clowning around and one guy fighting a boxing match.
Right. Clearly one of these men is an expert and the other is a genius.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And I mean, only in the last round has Lyle really started breaking from the conventional boxing motif of just, point and paste.
Yeah.
You post, take a little bit of damage, you counter punch, you wait out your opponent. But he doesn't seem to be interested in waiting anymore. He seems to just want to knock Ali out. Just let me hit you one time somewhere.
Well, I think he's wondering if the psychological games are over and it's gonna transition into more of a slugging contest now.
You can see the winner right here. Look at the difference in their gloves. Lyle's gloves drop before Ali's does in every single case right here. We're at the top of the round. Let the round run down a little bit. I'll show you what I mean.
Yeah, and Ali's superhuman stamina comes into play, as it often does.
And Ali's one of those fighters you cannot afford to drop your gloves even for a second, even if he's out of reach, because that next bounce might bring him in reach, and you don't know. So you
he may not be a heavy puncher, but you don't want to go to sleep on him.
That's right. He'll catch you slipping in a heartbeat.
Yep.
And if I remember right, that's how this happens. He catches Lyle slipping and drops him. He bleeds him. If I have a very vague memory of it, he bleeds him into a corner and leads him straight in, thinking that he's going to ball up again, and he doesn't.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's like, but he sets him with a jab, clocks him with an overhand right, if I remember right. And it's over. It's over before that right ever lands. Lyle stares at it coming in, going, "Well, it's been a good fight."
Yep.
Ding.
That's the best fight I can give you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity.
Look at him. It's a great fight. I mean, technically speaking, Lyle wins.
It's a fantastic fight. Yeah. Yeah. It's a contest between two top 5 heavyweights or who are pretty evenly matched.
I don't know. Just raw skill. I think Ali has it. But determination, drive, grit, training, technical ability, and skill, Lyle.
And although they are the same age, Lyle has a lot less damage on him at this point because he's been fighting for so many fewer years.
That's true too. Ooh.
Yeah, that was stiff, man. Ooh.
Ow.
Ooh.
Ow.
Man.
Ow. Somebody burning rubber.
Look at him staying in the corner, inviting him back in.
And every single time Ali opens up his belly and Lyle takes that lean into it, he puts just a little rabbit punch over there and backs away.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it would have changed. Ooh. I wonder if it would have changed the outcome of the fight if he'd have taken that bait on the body.
It's an interesting question.
I mean, there's no way to know, because would it have changed Ali's determination just to stand there and take the abuse?
And do you see how Ali always knows exactly how much time is on the clock when he lets loose with that flurry with 7 or 8 seconds left to go in the round?
Yeah. Because, I mean, there's a chance you could put him down. Can you be saved by the bell in these?
Yeah, except not in the last round, but in every other round you can be. This is round 8, I believe.
Ali be over there doing jumping jacks in the corner and stuff.
Yeah.
Smoking a cigar, talking to the chicks.
He can always find some little head game to throw in there. And that's part of his greatness.
Dropping a rock out of his shoe. Huh. How about that? Them dangerous games you play in there, brother. But it has turned into a fight. It is no longer a dance. We are fighting now.
That was a dangerous approach Lyle was taking a second ago, trying to bull rush his way in there.
Ooh, that was close. Ow. Ooh.
Ooh. Oh, man.
I'm just amazed that man is still on his feet.
Oh, I know. He has taken some grade A shots.
How fast that freaking jab is, though.
Oh, I know, the left jab.
That left jab is unreal, man.
That was his best punch.
It was his most effective blinding strike. Without that left jab, he would have been lost. But his most effective punch was an overhand right that came from too far to the right. You'd throw up to block it, and it'd catch you in your ear instead of on your chin.
And he would throw that sudden flurry, half a dozen on the top of your head, just pop, pop, pop,
Just-
pop, pop.
Just reach out and touch you on the forehead. Just
Yep.
like you play a
Yep.
drum. And I firmly believe that was a psychological ploy to punk you out while you're in the corner, because he did it right before the end of the round.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, where he always knows what the numbers on the clock.
You'd have to be sitting in that corner thinking about the fact that man just hit you 6 times.
Yep.
After not laying a glove on you through the entire match. He just stepped out, punched you 6 times, turned his back on you.
Yeah.
And walked away.
You thought you were getting the better of him, and then all of a sudden, pop, 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 bitch.
Mm-hmm. Look at how much lower his head is hanging. Now we're getting to the meat of the drink.
Again, just in the last 5 or 6 seconds of the round, he tags him hard enough to do damage a couple times.
Yeah, just bit.
Nope, calling him out.
And still, Lyle's running with a highly technical footing. He's using the fundamentals. And it's working so far. I mean,
Yeah, he is not losing the fight right now. I probably would have had it scored pretty even.
no, technically, if you sit down and do the tallies, Lyle has more hits, more punches, and has delivered visually more damage to Ali. However, Ali does not show any of that damage at all. I mean, Lyle's hanging his gloves a little bit. His head's hung down a little bit lower. He's got his shoulders hunched up higher, trying to protect his ear. Ow!
Yeah,
And there ain't but
what
was it, an inch and a half difference in reach?
Yeah, a
They're
couple
very
inches, I
evenly
believe.
matched.
But yeah, it used to be very amazing how much damage Ali could take and still have his face look pretty at the end of the fight.
Well, if you watch him, just about every time one of those punches gets near him, his head jerks away from it. He gets hit, but it's not as hard as it looks. His head's moving in the same direction before the glove hits. And it ain't but this much, but it's enough it's the difference between a knockout blow and just one that rings your bell a little bit.
Yeah, you're not necessarily slipping the punch, but you're taking a heavy blow and turning it into a glancing blow.
Right. And that instinctive turn of the head that slides it, that is another thing that he just instinctively did. That's another one Nazim had.
Yeah, in the first Liston fight, there's a lot of that. Hell of a lot of that.
Dude. Lyle's terrified of that. He's like, why are you doing that?
He's like, well, I don't even know what to make of this.
Why do you keep ducking? Quit it. You want to kick him.
What the hell are you doing down there?
If you don't come up here, I can't hit you in the head. Come back up here.
Put your head back where it was, God damn it.
Look over at the referee. Is that legal? I don't know what to do with him. He just reached out, slapped him on top of the head. Pap.
Yeah. Just little contemptuous little hand flick.
And doesn't sit down in the corner.
Doesn't sit down. Yeah,
That shit would wear on you after a while, man. When you get over there, you're sitting there with your and you look up and Ali's over there going, my right shoe's a little loose. Can you tighten it up a little bit?
He was
Thank you.
always playing some kind of head game.
Eating turkey, smoking a cigar, and talking to girls in the front row. Damn right.
Yeah. Well, remember the first Liston fight. I mean, after the first round, he's clowning, making faces at chicks in the front row like he just doesn't give a shit. Nobody knew what to make of that
at all. I mean, what do you do? I mean, he's enlisting at that point in time was one of the biggest bruisers in boxing history.
Oh, he was considered unbeatable,
and rightly so at the time, until he came across somebody like Ali. I mean, Ali did the same thing to him that he's doing the law.
Floyd Patterson was no pushover, and Liston just annihilated that guy as bad as you can annihilate a guy twice. And Ali or Cassius Clay, as he was then, he was smaller than Floyd Patterson, and it was thought that he was not as good a puncher either. So there was really no reason to think this kid was gonna do anything but get killed by Liston.
Right. I may have to go dig up that Phantom Punch to put in a montage. I hadn't thought about it in years.
Yeah, that would be a good one to watch during a live stream sometime.
Oh yeah, I'm totally down for that. You just let me know when. I'm in.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. I think let's do that.
Don't blink. You're going to miss it.
Because that fight, I mean, you can have 20 different conversations around all the shit that was happening with relation to that fight.
It's absurd. In fact, it's hard to sit through because you kind of got to stop it every 10 seconds to go over what just happened, so that you can have an understanding of what's going on at the end of the fight. Because it's so absurd. It's such a weird,
and you have to spend a lot of time setting the background of just the environment that was around the fight and the way the venue was moved at the last minute, and they were all with terrorist threats and all, there was all kinds of shit.
That Phantom Punch, when it comes down to it, is one of the least surprising parts of that fight. I know it's really weird, and everybody's always pointed at it as being like an issue, but there's stuff earlier in that fight that is weirder, in my opinion. Like there's points where, for all the world, Ali should have put this man down. He should have put this man down. He sticks his chin out there, drops his guard, and in every other Ali fight, that was a knockout blow. Yep. And instead, Ali just reaches over and touches him and steps back out of reach. It wasn't time to knock him out. It just wasn't time. Maybe Ali didn't think he could at that moment, but for all the world, it looked like he painted a big red arrow on the button. It's like, here.
And it's perfectly believable from Liston's perspective. One of the prevailing theories is that it was thought that Ali was going to be shot by somebody in the crowd, because there was this big, battle turf war going on between some of the black Muslims and the other black Muslims, and it was thought that Ali had a target on his back and somebody was going to assassinate him during the fight. And so then it's easy to see from Liston's perspective that I'm getting paid the same amount of money either way here. I just need to find an excuse to fall down. I'm going to fall down. I'm going to get the fuck out of here and not take a bullet.
Yeah, might take a bullet in the crossfire.
Yeah, that might have actually been what he was thinking.
Meh. Did I miss the knockout? No. Okay, here we go. Yeah, right out the gate, clocks his ass.
Oh, round 11. This is where it ends.
This is it. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm talking the very first step out there. The very second they reach each other, Ali's done hit him once. And yet again, his style has completely changed. He is no longer dancing. In fact, Lal has been forced into the dance procedure.
That hurt him.
Lal is trying to dance, and Ali is no longer dancing.
And look at this energy he can summon.
Right.
All of a sudden.
Back it up just a little bit further. before that hit where he knocked him into the corner.
Okay.
Right here, yeah. See? Watch him. He dances. Ali ain't moved. Ali's still standing in the same spot.
Yeah, that's the overhand right you were talking about earlier.
Yes, sir. He trained Lyle to dance. He taught him to dance for 5 rounds and then stopped. And when he stopped, he completely beat that man down. Look at him.
Yep.
He ain't even trying to defend himself anymore. He's just trying to figure out.
And when he was planning it in his mind, he probably was planning to end it in the 11th, just like he is.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. He came out here. You can tell from the second that bell rings, the very first thing Ali does is reach out and tag him with that overhand right.
Yep.
Go back and look at the opening bell. The second he gets within arm's reach, he reaches out and knocks the taste out of that man's mouth with an actual hit, more than he's been hitting this entire match. Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
And that is also psychological. He did that completely on purpose. That was to let
right.
know the games are over. You're going down.
Like during his second title reign, Ali won.
Very first thing, bell rang, whop. Oh, he mashed the wrong button again. It's the Desiderata this time. Ha ha. Because we're professionals. I'm prepared. Desiderata, words for life. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Welcome back, Cap.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about that.
I'll stop telling you to touch things on the screen. That was a hell of a fight, bud.
Yeah, that's a good fight. And Ron Lyle has nothing to be ashamed of with that fight.
Absolutely nothing. He was beat by a better showman.
Yep.
And you can go through that fight until that the last 2 rounds. Lyle fights a technically savage fight. He was,
and we have, and it has to be borne in mind that that's a man who made his professional debut 3 years earlier,
right?
And he's giving the heavyweight champion of the world a legitimate run for his money, and that is badass.
That is badass.
I mean, you can make yourself a great man just by determination and skill.
Yes. And in America, you can be born a poor black kid and grow up a rich white woman. It is possible.
Yep, damn right.
Starting to get the hiccups. Bip. Bip.
Oh,
bip.
oh,
Bip.
oh.
Bip. 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 Bip.
Yeah. And they're such short punches. It looks like there's not that much behind them, but God, he just peppers them in there and peppers them in there.
They keep coming like meteorite strikes.
Yep. You add them all up, and all of a sudden you're on the ground.
I think I might have found the ground a lot sooner.
Right?
Because they was part of that match. That man did not know where he was at, what was going on, how he got there, how he was going to get home.
None of it.
None
Who
of
his
it.
wife is.
Yeah. Mama. Somebody help me. This man is hurting me. But then that's not to shame him. He, no joke, he took an absolute beating from an absolute professional.
Damn right.
So being defeated by a better professional is not shameful.
And especially not when the other guy is the greatest of all time.
Well, at this time, he wasn't it wasn't so sure that he was the greatest of all time. You know, he was just one of the contenders. Although in the spotlight, it was obvious that he at least had the idea that he was going to be the greatest of all time. The Sugar Ray?
Yeah.
Oh, Sugar Ray. With
Leonard
that
Hearn.
canned music.
I'm still having difficulty with StreamYard.
Yes, sir. I have found, and all of this is determined upon how much you're willing to spend on the gear and the situation, you know, totally up to you. But I have found that if you can record on OBS the file, and I know it takes time to do it, but it's either time or money. You got to choose one. If you record it to a native file off your computer, you can upload it as a linked file to OBS and it'll run smoother. Or you can upload it straight to StreamYard. Instead of trying to stream it while you're streaming, you can have the file already in StreamYard, and that usually plays fine on the YouTube end.
I've been happy enough with the free version that I wouldn't mind paying for the pay version, I don't think.
I'll tell you, I did 2 months. The first month I had 4 guests. The second month I ate 20 hours in 1 guest, trying to get him up and running and capable of doing a show. And that had just so happened to be the week before my birthday. And my wife came in and was like, all right, so I'm not getting you anything for your birthday. What do you want? I was like, YouTube Premium and StreamYard. She said, pick one. I was like, I need unlimited streaming or this isn't going to work. So, yeah. And this year I went ahead and got YouTube Premium because of the commercials issue. I kept catching copyright claims from commercials. And while I'm not monetized, I do use the copyright system to kind of grade how well I am performing my craft. Does that make sense?
You're not monetized, but you get copyright strikes. I love me some YouTube.
Not strikes, claims.
Claims, right. Pardon me.
I've only gotten 1 strike, and it's a warning. And that one warning was from The Last Woman on Earth. I accidentally played the remastered file instead of the original file. And what's funny is I got hit with the strike at the same moment that I went, that looks really good. Bam. I got to thinking, this is just way too good. It shouldn't be. I got the wrong file. Hold on. I went to change it out, and they hit me. I was like, damn. All right.
I just had my strike expire date before yesterday.
I'm proud of you. I'm kind of pissed off that my warning will never go away.
Yeah, what is that all about?
I don't know. If you're going to have a warning, why can't I wait out the warning too? I mean, make it a year or something. Make it something absurd. That's fine. But I have gone over a year now without receiving any secondary anything at all. There is not a single claim on my material that has any more impact than no impact.
But it still has to tell you every time you click on your home screen that you've got the warning.
Yeah, and I guarantee you that thing's not going to change color when I get a strike, Emma. Is it going to turn red?
Nope.
It's just going to do the same thing. It's just going to say strike instead of copyright warning.
Yep. And then the strike will go away and it'll go back to warning.
I'm just going to chew that one down, bro. I'm just going to chew that one down.
chew it down.
Well, you see what happens here is I get 18 months of this under my belt, get to where I count myself as something of a professional at it, and I have a little skill and some learned skills and some native talents, right? I start a new channel, and I bring in the people that I know are willing to put in the effort and the work on doing good bits. And launch this motherfucker to the moon, bro. Million subs tomorrow night.
Boom.
Right? I handle the live streaming and the street talking, and you do the scripts. We'll be freaking solid gold, son.
Rule the
Nah,
fucking world.
Let's just drink beer and hang out.
Or that.
Probably more profitable. Too bad I don't
Probably
drink
so.
beer. But I'll tell you what I will do. We're gonna watch that Sunny the List and Ali fight next week. I will get me a pint of rum for that one. Yes, sir.
Yep, that is a date.
Because you about have to be hammered to deal with that fight. It it has so much wrong with it.
In fact, we could watch both of those fights in an hour live stream, no problem.
I'm down.
Because
Next Sunday, next Monday, pick a day. I don't care.
Clay Liston, I believe that fight ends in the 6th round, and obviously the second fight goes less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a good one. And there's so many things to talk about with both of them that
Yeah, they're both just madhouses.
there is no shortage of subject matter at all.
This is a very confusing fight. Everybody's in white. We have the white and the red trunks, and the white and the red trunks, and the white and the red trunks has struck the white and the red trunks for another.
Who's in the white trunks with red trim?
I'm pretty sure Sonny is the one with the wide red belt. I can't be sure because the quality is not that great.
All right, let me try something here. Nope, didn't want to do that. Nope, I didn't want.
I think so. Oh. Don't. Hey, that's me.
Yeah, that is you. I'm not sure how I did that.
That's because your computer has that taste.
You must have a stalker.
You know what happened the last time I had a stalker? I married her. I mean, you find a better way to deal with a stalker, I'm all ears, baby.
Yeah, I can't help you there.
Which one is this? This is
This is the second one.
Yeah.
The Phantom Punch.
That thing. Oh.
The one where everybody's like, I'm not sure why we're in Lewiston, Maine, but we're in Lewiston, Maine for some reason.
Yeah, we're over here. We were gonna watch a fight.
We were supposed to be in Boston, but we're not, so here we all are.
There's a lot of weirdness around this fight. It's really strange.
Oh, so much weirdness. Let's get to the actual fight.
Let's see, what were we about? In 6 months, Ali spends, what, a year in jail? Is it 5 months, a year? I can't remember. Oh, here we go again. Ha. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly to the counsel of years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you. Welcome back, Cap.
There's Floyd Patterson. Yeah, this guy kicked the shit out of me twice, so I'll just leave.
Yeah, I'm going to get out of here before you get confused on who's supposed to be hitting. Bye.
See y'all later.
I mean, you couldn't have threw that man out the ring any faster. I'm not in this fight. This is not my fight. I'm leaving. You can't stop. I don't want
to be in a boxing ring with this man anymore.
I don't want to be in a boxing ring with neither one of them. They were both murderers, man. They freaking killers. And I don't. All right. So there's this one punch at about the, I think it's like the minute 10, minute 12, somewhere around in there. I don't remember exactly. There's this one punch where Ali puts one on Liston that leaves the stanky from the bathroom floor on him. Like, you see it. His gloves, they shift down a hair, and his head kind of jerks back and forth, and there's not a response from him. Every other time Ali hits him, he hits Ali back almost immediately. But this time he's like, "Bip, the hell was that?" He looks around, and he goes back to fighting. But I think there was one of those moments.
Yeah, for a fight that goes less than one round, there is no shortage of weirdness in this fight.
It is a beautiful bit of work, though.
Jersey Joe Walcott, the last man that ever should have been refereeing a championship fight.
Yeah, okay.
Wasn't sure exactly what the rules were, and that didn't help.
Solid gold.
Hey,
baby.
you were probably going to have conspiracy theories anyway, and that just made it worse.
Yeah, you might as well give them something to hang their hat on when they come in the door,
right?
And then on top of it, even Ali's behavior, or I guess it would be Cassius Clay at this point, even Cassius Clay's behavior before the fight is a little bit deviant from his usual routine. Because you see him over there, he's not dancing around, he's not bouncing, he's not doing the thing.
Yeah, he looks as nervous as everybody else.
Well, I mean, he did have a death threat on him at this point, right?
It's true. Yep.
So he that may have contributed. Look at his behavior. It's just a little different. Now he's gone to bouncing a little bit, but it took him a second to get his brain back where he's supposed to be.
Yeah, everybody was kind of unsure whether they were about to be shot.
Woo! That overhand right I was talking about just made an appearance.
Yep. Say hello to my little friend.
Right? What's that clicking noise? Right about. Wait for it. He pegs him and they clutch up.
Oh.
Why are they filming it on a potato?
That
one right there.
Yeah.
Liston ate that one like a freaking cheese breakfast. I ain't even joking. He just eat one of the best punches Ali ever threw. and he walked straight into it. Now look at how Liston's he's still coming at him. He's a little bit more reserved. He's not coming in quite so hot anymore. And I think his eye is starting to swell shut, which means that's the only good punch he's popped. So that's the one that did it.
And yep, there it is.
Liston's like, nah, I'm not gonna get up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. And then it turns into farce at this point. It's just a farce and a parody now. And then they start fighting again. Walcott's got no fucking clue what's going on.
Yeah, he didn't count. They're gonna, and this is where he really hurts him.
I mean, you could have dragged in a drunk off the street and got a better refereeing performance than you got from Jersey Joe Walcott here.
That's true. I could have called that match better.
Yeah, and
he pretty much didn't show up through the whole match. I didn't see him but twice through the whole thing.
Yeah, and that the incompetence of the refereeing performance just plays in even more to the sense of farce and absurdity and like the inability of anyone to take this thing seriously.
I feel like Don King might have been involved in this.
Yeah.
Here we go again. And more of the Desiderata. And sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than trees and stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace within your soul. With all its share, you did good, son.
Thanks, Pop.
You found your way back from the wilderness. As the product.
All right, we're at the 2-hour mark. Might as well adjourn this thing, I guess.
Yeah, man. However you like to fly it. You got anything in particular you want to play on the way out?
Yeah, let's do last year's version of A Visit from St. Fauci.
You want me to pop it up, or you gonna get it?
I got it.
Okay. Careful. It's all so blue.
I know.
I really think you hit it out of the park with this one, bud. This particular version. I mean, you were just it was so organic, right? It was so well delivered. It was well planned. It was well made. I think the remake on that one, you should go in and do something visual with it. Keep the original edit, but then throw in some later made memes that fit the environment. And I think you'd make it
the West Wing.
Here.
All right. I will let this play us out. Thank you, sir, very much for being here.
I appreciate you having me. Much love.
Much love. Have a pleasant week.
Yes, sir.
It's the night before Christmas, and throughout the West Wing, not a staffer was stirring. One could not hear a thing. The stockings by the chimney had been unhung with haste, for they'd forgot stripper grandbaby, and they had to save face. The Bidens were nestled all snug in their bed, while visions of corn pop danced in Joe's head. And Dr. Jill in her jammies and Joe in Depends had just settled down to see how Matlock ends. When on the east lawn there arose such a ruckus, it must be the Russians. I just knew they'd fuck us. Joe sprang from his bed, but he sprang not so fast, for he's 900 years old. Not much longer he'll last. The moon, it shone brightly on the fresh fallen snow, but Joe was too blind to see objects below, when what to his failing old eyes did appear but Anthony Fauci on a sleigh with reindeer. And that little old driver, so old and so bony, Joe knew in a moment it must be St. Tony. Like a transgender swimmer, his coursers they came, and he harangued and shouted and called them by name. Now Lemon, now Koopa, now Velshi and Todd, on Stelta and Maddow, obey me like God, to the top of the house, to the top of the residence, abide by the mandates, I don't need no evidence. And as the unvaxxed out of venues were thrown, they hit the ground hard with a sickening groan. To the top of the White House, the coursers they flew with a sleigh full of masks, and St. Anthony too. And then in a twinkling, up on top of the structure, Joe could hear all the whining of those silly race hucksters. As Joe drew his head in and turned to his right, down the chimney came Tony, and it gave him a fright. He was clad in a white coat, and stethoscope too, and the masks on his face numbered not one, but two. A bundle of vaccines was flung on his back, and he looked like a junkie who'd just run out of smack. His eyes, they were downcast, his cheeks were so sunken, he looked like a hobo, though slightly less drunken. His mean little mouth twisted into a frown, but Joe couldn't tell, for his mask wasn't down. A syringe was held tightly in St. Tony's fist, as, "Take your damn booster!" he screamed and he hissed. He had a gaunt face and a big pair of glasses, and he called the whole country a bunch of dumbasses. He was surly and vain, such a nasty old prick. He needed someone to tell him, "Eat a big bag of dicks!" But with a wink of his eye and a jab of his needle, his celebrity status, it surpassed the Beatles. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his task, and he jabbed all the Bidens in the arm or the ass. And when he had finished, he flew back to the roof, saying, "You guys are all good now. You won't get the coof." He sprung to his sleigh, and he said to his team, "Let's get going now. Let's pick up the steam. We've got more arms to jab in homes and in schools, so I'll see you next Christmas, you gullible fools!"